When I was in my early 20s, I traveled the world and hooked up with many random guys. I had a taste of excitement, attraction, and raw passion, and I knew I wanted more of. And I promised myself as an adult I would not settle for less. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going over a story titled, I May Have Destroyed My Marriage and Life. How do I get over my drug-like thirst for passion, like in novels, fairy tales, and or develop similar feelings of passion for my husband, who I love? And a big shout out to Mark for sending me this story. And guys, this story is about a gal who is probably one of the most selfish a-holes I've heard in a long time, who is a serial cheater who spent her early years as a complete international carousel rider doing her studies abroad and traveling abroad type of thing, who eventually settles for her nice guy, marries him, has a kid with him, but isn't long before she's cheating on him left and right and using all these ways to justify her cheating and all that. It's ridiculous. Saying how she misses the butterflies, I want things to be like the romance novels, that type of crap. Another big good one to show you just the nonsense that goes in some of these gals' heads and the way they justify their actions, which you hear about all the time. But you're going to see that eventually her husband finds out what's going on, and now he's pretty much kicking her to the curb, and she's obviously singing the blues, wanting pity, all that. So, starts off, she says here, sorry in advance for the long post. It's my first time posting here, and I just want to get the story out and get any support I can from all you in parts that may resonate. She actually is thinking she's going to get support. But you know what? That's not actually uncommon because, let's be honest, Reddit is full of a bunch of wackos. I'm a mid-30s woman and have been with an incredible man for a decade. Well, he's not so incredible if you've been cheating on him left and right. We have 2 kids together, have everything we could want, live comfortable lives, and have always looked forward to a great future together. But somewhere along the way, I started to resent him for not inducing in me the feelings of passion I crave, and my resentment manifests in our marriage in ways that have been unfair to him and ultimately led me to a short but intense affair that might cost me everything. Oh, boo freaking who. If he was so amazing like she said he is, and she loved him so much and loved her family, as in her kids, 2 kids, then she'd recognize that, guess what? Once you get married, the old butterflies and all that stuff, that's just not going to happen as much anymore because A, you marry the type of guy who's not going to give that in the first place, and 2, you get to know each other, so the mystery goes away and all that. But good freaking Lord. She says he's willing to forgive me and move on if he believes I'm ready to dedicate myself fully to our marriage and to building that passion with him. But I haven't been able to convince him or myself that I can do that. Because you know you're full of crap. You know that at the end of the day, your lust is going to take over. Or that I'm even ready to make an emotional commitment to get past this passion thing, which I know isn't really so logical. This all stemmed from when I was in my early 20s, traveling the world and hooking up with random guys. Right there. At least she admits it. So, you know the old pair bonding thing that scientific studies have been done, that when a gal has relations with so many men, being able to actually bond with a man and you get the point, good fucking luck there. And right here she said that. I had a taste of excitement. Well, she had a taste of other things. Attraction and raw passion I knew I wanted more of. And I promised myself that as an adult I would not settle for less. Well, what makes you so amazing? Because you're in your 20s and you're a piece of ass? Well, you get older and you're not as physically appealing as you once were. And not to mention, at the end of the day, looks are going to fade. But your personality is going to be there until you get old and go into la la land. But I don't see anything about her personality that's not very appealing here. So, what does she bring to the table that makes her say, I won't settle for less? When I met my husband, I had already been hearing about him for months. He had a reputation for being a great guy, a leader in the community, someone who could be counted on, etc. I was attracted to that, and when we met, was maybe some physical chemistry. She's make some, just enough that I could justify being with him. I'm not sure, and I did have fun with him. It was definitely not the fiery passion of my dreams, but married him because I loved him and told myself I don't need a fairy tale romance to still have a great life. Translation, okay, I'm done riding the carousel for now. I want to get married, so I'm going to find myself a guy who doesn't give me the butterflies, who I'm not going to be passionate about, but you know what? He's going to be stable. He's going to pay the bills. He's going to give me a much better life financially than the guys that really turn me on. So I'll get involved with him and convince myself I love him, even though I'm not capable of love. And then if I get bored, well, you know how that goes. Over the years, I came to question that decision and came to resent him for it. Why are you resenting him? You're the one that chose to marry him. I don't think somebody forced you to get up and say I do and all that, unless you can prove otherwise. You made that choice, so you shouldn't resent him. If you resent anybody for marrying somebody that you now don't want to be married to, resent yourself. But women and accountability. I know I was so self-absorbed and caught up in my workouts and other things I think that rubbed off on him, and we just got into a bad place. I thought maybe if he lost 10 to 15 pounds, he's always been active but slightly overweight since a few months after we met, that would help my passion, and he has tried, and in some swings, but I've grown contemptful that he doesn't have the body I want him to have and doesn't work as hard as I do. He probably doesn't have the same body that you want him to have because he's probably, no doubt, working his butt off in his career to provide the lifestyle that you and your kids are accustomed to. And I guarantee you that if he took a less paying job so he could have more time to eat better, I mean, you can eat well even if you're busy, but it's easier if you're not working as much, you have more time to prep meals and hitting the gym and lifting weights more. If his body improved, she'd be upset that he wasn't making as much money, and round we go. You do enough of these guys, you see a pattern here. I know it's shallow, and I've been in therapy 10 months trying to help mature my views of what attraction and passion are, since on paper he is everything I would ever hope for a man to be, and I do love him. You don't love him. You're not capable of love. Your actions demonstrate this countless times throughout this story. You're not capable of love. But I let these negative feelings manifest in horrible ways in our marriage. I neglected him emotionally, put my hobbies and household and work responsibilities above him, and really never let him feel like he was my priority. Because he never was your priority. You're not fooling anybody. He spoke openly with me about those things and how alone he felt in the marriage, like he wasn't my top priority or even close to it. But I wasn't very receptive sometimes. Well, on his end, this guy was the type of guy who probably thought, yes, this pretty girl is paying attention to me. Finally, just like the movies say, this pretty girl probably realized she made mistakes with other guys and is choosing me. And he was a nice guy that married her, thinking they'd be different, and he gets the bare minimum in terms of the SEX, the treatment, and she certainly doesn't love him. And I feel bad for this guy, but lots of guys like him are out there. Then Brad moved in a few doors down. Uh-oh, here we go. He was happily married, attractive, funny, and we often ran into each other while doing things outside. We were both crushing on each other for a year without realizing it, and my husband also hung out with him separately a couple times. So a guy in the neighborhood you like, she has the hots for, and even hanging out with your husband, which makes it even more a thrill for you to have a little flirting thing going on with. She's a piece of garbage. Then one night we invited him over to come over and hang out and have a few drinks while his wife was out of town. I didn't realize, but my husband told me after that I was super flirty and my attraction was obvious and made him uncomfortable. This husband needs to cut his losses and kick this broad to the curb. She's nothing but trouble. But nice guys generally don't do that until it's too freaking late. He reminded me, as he said before, due to past relationship trauma, that infidelity is a line he would never tolerate having crossed, and urged me not to pursue the friendship with Brad further due to my obvious attraction for him. So this is the problem with this nice guy husband. He's saying that, but instead he should be saying he needs to be laying down the law. Like, you're not going to be hanging out with this guy. You're married to me now. There's no male friends, male guys you connect with on social media and talk to and text with all. Oh, no. You're a wife and a mother. That's your top priority. This me and this family. End of story. If that's a problem, hey, we'll get divorced. And so you'll take half my things. I'll make it back. Sayonara, bitch. That's what he needs to say. In his own words. I told him I would obey if he ordered me to cut it off, but that I would resent him for being that controlling. I felt like I really needed this friendship for myself, someone who felt the way I do about fitness, someone who made me feel good about myself, etc. You're telling me your husband doesn't make you feel good about you? You've had no doubt, if you're pretty, you know to have guys looking at you all the time. When I talk about attention and validation, they need it all the time. She says, not that my husband doesn't make me feel good about myself, it's just different coming from an attractive guy you have a crush on. At least she's honest. I promised nothing would ever happen between us anyway because I'm not a cheater and he's happily married. Yeah, sure, honey. My husband warned me not to risk our future and our family on assumptions about what Brad's marriage and integrity are really like. I did not listen, and our friendship deepened into very regular texting. There you go. This is what... You think the husband hangs out with other women? Or talks to, or texts, or messages on social media? No. And then she shouldn't be doing it either, but she doesn't give a shit. And she knows deep down, in her perception of her husband is, he's a nice guy, and I can just put on the waterworks and sweet talk him and use my sexuality to rope him in, and I can do what I want. That's my interpretation of this. The night he was over, he asked us a question that was a little personal and detected a crack in our marriage. He texted me later that night to ask if everything was okay and to lend his ear as a friend if I ever wanted to talk. So this guy's a sleazeball just like her. Yeah, when these guys say, oh, I'm there for if you want to talk, yeah, sure. I did talk to him, and he consistently probed me for highly personal questions, while going out of his way to telegraph a platonic relationship with me and always mentioning his wife. In hindsight, I think he was manipulating me somewhat, and my therapist says he's a predator, and it's clear he's done this before. Lady, you're the manipulation queen, and you wanted to be manipulated, but you're putting the blame on him for what you were doing and about to do. It's easier, more convenient that way. Yeah, he knew what he was doing, but guess what? So did you. You knew what type of guy he was. Brad admits as much. He told me he cheated on his wife many years ago, and it was really helpful to him to rekindle his feelings with his wife, who never found out. Then one day we were taking a walk, and he confessed a crush, and I stupidly did the same. They're going for walks. Are they feeding the ducks together? 15 minutes later, he propositioned that we could have sex with me to help me reclaim the passion in my marriage. Well, when you put it that way. Just like that, it happened for his. He said he had cheated on his wife before, and it really helped him get closer to her. I said I'd think about it. And a couple weeks later, when my husband was out of town, the physical affair started. She says emotional was already in progress, obviously. And this is why you don't marry gals like this. And this is why you have your girlfriend or wife doesn't have male friends to hang out with. That doesn't mean they're all going to be like Big Brad here. No, but you get the point. For 5 weeks or so, across 5 encounters, we had fire together. These are her words. Forget the passion I've been dreaming of. This was on a whole new level. Brad and I discovered how sad it was not to have this with our spouses, and that we had such a real connection that neither of us knew this level of passion ever existed. The reality is, she's just been with the same guy for a while, and she's bored out of her freaking mind and not attracted to him. She settled for this nice guy to provide her a certain lifestyle. And so, because this is sneaking around behind his back, now she has fire. Then he decided that it was too risky for him to keep doing this, and he's living a very cushy life and can't afford to get caught. We stopped physically, but continued to message and grieve together. I was a bit more emotionally distant while the affair was ongoing, but I was a wreck when it ended, and my husband knew something was up. Of course he do. He's many things, but he's not stupid. He put enough pieces together to confront me, but I lied and gaslighted him until he showed me ironclad proof. So, literally, until he actually provided pictures or some kind of evidence, she just kept denying. Then I came 100% clean, and my husband and I together sent Brad a message from me saying that we've been discovered and to please never contact me again. My husband also messaged him separately, and he tried to deny the affair had gone physical, so as not to create evidence that could be shown to his wife, but he did not promise my husband no further contact with me as well, and I think we are both going to honor that. Why didn't your husband, or this chick's husband, contact his wife? Now my husband is grappling with whether to reconcile or leave me. Oh, poor you. I was already not being a good wife to him before this, and the affair obviously didn't help. But he's realistic about what it would do to our family and kids if we divorced, and he knows he doesn't have to make the decision immediately. It would be better in the long run to be in this miserable marriage with a liar, cheater, manipulator. She's just incapable of love. And I might add, she didn't just cheat on her husband, she cheated on her kids too. She would willingly wreck the family life, which would affect the kids, just so she can get a little fire, as she said. Says here, I love him and our life together, and my biggest wish would be that I could transplant that passion I had for Brad, or at least something close to it, and bring it into my marriage. Again, you don't love him. Your actions have made it abundantly clear. Maybe I've just been polluted by romance novels and fairy tales, but there's a huge part of me that just can't seem to let go of that, and I know I did myself and us a huge disservice by giving myself another taste of that. Well, don't put all the blame on the movies and the fairy tales and the novels. They are bullshit, but they are meant for entertainment purposes. But who buys those crappy romance novels? Women, by and large. And who watches those movies? Women. Now I'm grieving the loss of the affair relationship and having a very hard time coping with the sense that I'll probably never have that level of fire ever again. I know logically that's not real and that it's never really a prerequisite to a great and fulfilling marriage and life. But part of me can't give that up and dedicate myself fully to my marriage. So see her right there. She knows herself. At the end of the day, she's going to go for the passion, the butterflies. At the end, now, sadly, the passion, getting the butterflies, and that type of guy that creates that within a woman is almost always going to win over the other guy. Always. But part of me can't give up and dedicate myself fully to my marriage. I'm trying to help comfort my husband and be remorseful, and I've been by his side basically constantly for the past 2 weeks, putting on the show. But he keeps confronting me that he can tell my heart is not fully into it, and I'm still anchoring onto this idea of the fire passion. He knows. He has proposed I need to just decide for myself that I'm going to put that notion of fire away and dedicate myself to loving each other and growing passion organically out of love rather than lamenting that we just don't have it automatically. Newsflash, even the best marriages out there, two people have been together for a long time, that mystery and the butterflies and all that's going to go eventually because you know everything about that person. But you can still have a great time together and both can date each other, try to surprise each other and keep things interesting and all that. But that whole fire and passion, the only guys that are going to give gals that are the bad boys, and they never settle down, ever, and they bring a whole lot of turmoil and drama into the relationship. And even like a guy that would be the type that would settle down eventually, that gave her some mystery in the beginning, like I said, eventually, you do learn what that guy's like. And vice versa with the girl. I just don't know how to get over those expectations and be happy with what I have. Logically, what I have is incredible. And I do love him and love our life, and I don't want to lose it. Lady, you're not fooling anybody. You love the lifestyle he provides, and your house, and your car, and the comfort of so much money in your various accounts to keep you afloat in the lifestyle you can have, blah, blah, blah. But you married him because you knew he was the type that could provide that. And you also knew darn well he wasn't the type that was going to give you the butterflies. If you wanted the guy to give you a guy that would give you butterflies, you should have married this guy, but you did it because you're selfish. And now you're cheating on him and cheating on your kids. You're a piece of garbage. He has every right to kick you to the curb. But sadly, I don't think this guy, because I have his number, he's a nice guy, isn't about to do that just yet. But he's close to it, because he doesn't want to hurt his kids. I bet you if he didn't have kids, he'd probably kick her to the curb at this point, but he doesn't want to hurt the kids. And that's commendable. But then the kids grow up in a house where mom and dad don't love each other. There's a lot of turmoil and all that, and it's just a bad place to be. And then those kids one day will be in relationships just like that. And nobody wants that for them. So we shall see where this goes. But like I said, this is one of the biggest selfish a-holes I've heard in a long time. And blaming the romance novels and the fairy tales and all that, it's nonsense. But this is the shit that goes through a lot of gals' minds. But anyhow, guys, that'll be an entertaining one to show you. And I hope, like hell, he kicks her to the curb. But in the meanwhile, she can have her uncertainty. That'll make her crazy and all that. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you come across a good story, definitely email it to me. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it. I will when I get the chance. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.